I guess it's worth talking about how I dealt with nerves for Nats. Here's my mindset for nerves. You have two options, right, for nerves. First option you have is make home feel like competition. That way you're used to competition. The second way is to make competitions feel like home. You're already used to home, so you're used to competitions. Those are two approaches. I found the first one to be really bad. I think simulating competitions at home is really difficult. I think it really is, and here's why. You never know like how nervous you'll be at a competition until you actually are at a competition. And people who've been to competitions can vouch for me, right? Can you simulate nerves? Yes, to some extent, but like competing is still a different atmosphere. It's hard to simulate, you know? And even if you practice it so much, I feel like it's hard to get good at. At least that was my opinion. So the way I managed nerves at Nats was to make Nats feel like at home and to make Nats feel more relaxed. You can't simulate nerves, exactly. Like, I mean, I can at home, but like practicing that won't help too much at comp. So I think the better attempt or the better approach is to simulate home at comps. Let's think about like when you're not nervous in comp. For me, it's like 7x7, it's big cubes. Those are the events I get like PRs that are PBs. Why? Because I'm not nervous. Why? Because I don't care. My simple approach for not being nervous in comps, online comps this works too, is to not care. And that's such a bad approach to a lot of people because they're like, how do you not care? Because in the back of mind, you are going to care. And the way I did it for Nats was I made a lot of excuses for myself. So for Nats, the one thing I did for Nats, even though I was super confident myself, was outwardly, I was very inconfident. Basically for Nats, what I did was I lied to myself to the point where I said, Podium is impossible, stop thinking about Podium. And I did this many ways. I did this in my videos. So like I kind of convinced myself that I wasn't going to Podium by saying that in my main goals video. Also during the competition itself, I convinced myself like, I'm not going to Podium, I'm not going to Podium. During the finals round, I used my surroundings to convince myself I wasn't going to Podium. For example, I was like, oh, I overheard Ethan got sub 8 average, and I hear clapping on Ava's and Daniel's side. I was like, okay, they both got 7 averages, I'm not going to Podium, right? That was my mindset. Don't think about winning. Just be less confident. That's weird, but that's my approach. I think I did a lot to distract myself from thinking about the solves. So looking at the audience, for Nats there was a huge audience for scoring the finals. It was the first finals of the day. I didn't look at the audience not even once. Only on the last solve I looked at the audience. But before that, I never looked at the audience once. I never looked towards Jackie, who was on my left, or on my right. I never looked towards my competitors. I never asked about their times. And in the waiting area, I did solves on my phone. I did not talk to anyone else. And the reason why is because I just want to be zoned in and focused and just completely ignore the outside, you know? That way, like, I won't let someone else's results influencing me. Saying that you're never going to Podium is honestly a good mindset because everyone's first Podium, including mine, well, not everyone, but a lot of people's first Podium were not expected. You usually do better if you don't expect to do well. If you expect yourself to do well, you put pressure on yourself to do well, and say, okay, I'm gonna get first. Putting that pressure on yourself is gonna make you do worse. Like, you have to wonder, like, why do I not get nervous for events I suck at? And why do I Podium when I least expect it? It's because you don't care. When you don't care, there's less nerves. Because, like, you're making yourself feel too confident in yourself. My approach is, like, don't feel confident or force yourself, like, convince yourself not to be confident. And put your mind away from thinking about your solves. You don't want to think about getting first because that's what makes you nervous. For example, this other comp, I got like a low 9 average. The way I did well in that comp was ignoring being the best, but putting my emotions somewhere else. For example, for that comp, what I did was I thought for the whole score 1 round, I was thinking about the 2x2 round like before, where I failed sub 2. So that whole score 1 round, I was unhappy I kind of forced myself to be unhappy. I really wasn't unhappy, but I forced myself to be angry. And I was like, why did I screw up the 2x2 round? So I kept thinking that, throwing square one. That way my emotions of like trying to get first in square one are shifted towards, oh, I suck at 2x2. So don't focus on trying to win. I feel like it's possible to not get nervous with that approach, but I think it's much harder. I think convincing yourself that you're not going to win and putting your mindset somewhere else is what caused my nerves to go away. But in general, my way to deal with nerves is just to not care. If you do care secretly, it's hard to deal with it, but like just, you want to like convince yourself not to care. Like for keeping at home and online comps, the way I thought about it was like, I'm not gonna podium, I'm not gonna win, let's just do this for fun. And this is something that Max Park says a lot, and I'm not sure why he says it, but like it's such a good mindset. Like the second you care about winning is the second like you get nervous. If you're there for fun, don't expect to win, and you're there just to compete and have fun, to chill, your nerves go away. And it's hard to convince yourself that, so that's something you have to kind of practice, I guess. But you have to shift your focus away from winning, and it's super hard. It really is, because it's hard to lie to yourself like that. But the second you do that is the second you get less nervous. Just don't care about your times. Some people say quit an event and then like you get good at it. Like that kind of makes sense. But even if you practice an event, don't care about the results you're gonna get. Don't put pressure on yourself. Don't like say, oh, I'm gonna get sub 8. Like instead think, okay, if I get sub 8, that's gonna be nice. If not, like it's okay. And that does two things. First off, it makes you less nervous. Second off, if you fail, you're gonna be less mad. Higher expectations is always nice, but it's gonna cause you to be more nervous. One, and two, if you screw up your results, it's gonna make you super mad. Like, there are a lot of times where I witness people like through competitions like get super frustrated about the results, and just don't have expectations. Pretty much, just like have fun, enjoy the competition, you know.